Welcome to my series about all Chopin's music. This night we have a piece of music which is a pure expression of love, which is composed by the artist who was deeply in love, who was happy, who was full of hope, and this love was very serious. This Nocturne in D flat major, opus 27 number 2, which we are going to analyze today. This Nocturne was written in the time when Chopin was in love with Maria Wodzińska. He was engaged to her. He hoped that they will be a family. And when we listen to it, I think you know this piece because it's a very famous piece. When we listen to it, we immediately catch this kind of feeling. It's written in such a way that it cannot be a music about anything else but love. And of course, it's very well known, but still we have here a few things that probably will surprise you. And I'm going to show you them. First of all, the structure. If you want, and if you accept this kind of challenge, I recommend to you to stop watching this video now and open some recording of this Nocturne and try to answer the question, what musical form is this? What structure does it have? And why I believe in you so much, why I ask you this question? Because, generally speaking, these videos are made for amateurs mostly. I mean, for everybody, of course, for musicians too, but mostly for all music lovers. So you might now ask a question, how can I, a small music lover, not musician, answer this question? Impossible. Well, I only believe in you and I only ask this question, I give this challenge to my fans and to people who watched my other videos. There are already many, because we already have, as you know, all the waltzes, all the balladas, all the mazurkas, all polonaises, and a lot of nocturnos and all the scherzos. We had a lot of different structures, a lot of different musical forms, which I explained. Oh, we had sonatas as well, so oh my god, almost everything. Well, anyway, this is very interesting because in this Nocturno, Chopin is experimenting again. And to show you this, now I will play this Nocturno for you in its entirety. And while playing, I will be putting names, the letters of certain parts of this music, so that after having these letters, we will probably answer this complicated question about the structure. Okay? So now let's start. But if you accept the challenge, stop the video now, listen to some other recording, try to make some letters maybe. It's not easy. I know it's not easy. But let's see if you were right. Okay. Everything starts from part A. first phrase of part A. Now part A continues. Now we have part B. What? Part A again, without changes. Second phrase of part A. Part C. And what now? Part A again. The second phrase of part A. and this is the end. Okay, what was the structure? A, B, A, C, A, and the coda. Rondo. Rondo. Rondo as a nocturno. Of course, I mean, this is possible. You can ask, so why Chopin didn't call this piece a rondo? Well, it doesn't mean that title must be, I mean, when you call the piece a rondo, it must be a rondo. There is no possibility that you call the piece rondo, but you write a sonata form, for example, or variations. Well, this is too much even for Beethoven, or Chopin, or, I don't know, Wagner, or whoever. This is too much of a joke. It is impossible to do. Although, you know, in the 21st century, why not? But, well, anyway, now seriously speaking, I want you to understand. When you write a rondo or variations, it must be variations. It cannot be something else. But a nocturno simply means a night piece. So a piece of music to be played in the night, in the evenings. And usually about love. But the structure of this piece can be different. As you know, usually Chopin wrote an ABA structure with B as a part, more dramatic, something different from part A. Right? We had it in the previous nocturno in C sharp minor. We had it in Nocturnos Opus 15, number 1 and 2, and also we had it in, well, actually number 1. Number 2, well, number 2 also, it had a F sharp major. And also Opus 9, number 3, we also had this stormy middle part. So it should be contrasting. Here we don't really have this contrast. So Chopin is trying something new. He's trying to write a nocturno without a middle part, which would be contrasting. We had it in Opus 15, number 3, the so-called Shakespeare, you know, Hamlet, Shakespearean nocturne, but this was something else because it was a story. Here we have a nocturne which doesn't have a middle part. So for some people it's a little monotonous, but it's not really monotonous. When we have this rondo and in part B and C we have a kind of drama, which I will show you now. Because now, but before we start the analysis, I mean the analysis of every part, I want to start from the end, because of course this nocturne can be seen as an expression of love. I always had this feeling that this music can be played by the pianist while looking deeply into the eyes of his love all the time, and instead of the words saying I love you and all these feelings that I have for her, instead of them I just have this music, and it works. That's all. It cannot be better. It cannot be more in love. But when I was analyzing deeper this piece, as you know, for this project I have to do it, so it's time consuming also, and I'm asking questions to Chopin and I'm waiting for the answer. And don't worry, I'm still normal, of course. I'm just joking a little, but really actually sometimes I'm doing this kind of stuff. But I don't know if I'm right. Of course I might be completely wrong and Chopin might laugh at me, but sometimes I get some answers that make those answers, they make sense in the music. And in this nocturno I got actually quite a lot of answers which I want to share with you, because that's the sense of these videos. One of them is the ending. When we have this beautiful ending, what is really this? We have you surely hear notes going up, but these notes, can you hear how many of them are played together? Two. because this are the sixth. So it's two notes, which is a symbol always in Chopin's music of duet of two people. We have it in Barcarolle, we have it in many nocturnos, and we have it in some romantic parts of ballades or of scherzos. Or anyway, these two people, the couple, is flying away like ghosts of, or their souls are flying away to heaven. So that made me think that maybe in Chopin's mind, maybe in his, well, we don't know, conscious or subconscious, his idea, maybe his idea was in this nocturno to express his idea, his projection of the whole life with his beloved Maria Wodzicka. And this nocturno throughout, when we go throughout it, is how Chopin imagined his life with her. And with so much love, they end together and they fly, their souls fly away together. Like in the most beautiful romantic poem. That would be so touching, and if it were true, that would be absolutely probably the most genius piece of music, which has some story. But we don't know. But anyway, you can think about it while listening to it. About my other ideas I tell you soon, a little later in this video. So just you wait. Okay, now let's analyze. Let's first take a look at the background of the whole story. Background, so left hand. Chopin is using practically half of his keyboard to create a kind of effect of a lot of space. He starts from this note, and then from here we have many notes which together with the pedal, because I'm using of course the pedal, that's why we have long sound. They create some kind of color, the background. Let's listen a little to this background. Of course, it's not important all the notes that we hear all the notes, because they should create a kind of circle, well, a kind of, yeah, the big circle of notes, so like a background in the painting. And this is one color. Now we have another color, look. Another, and another. And you know what's very special about this nocturno is the fact that the left hand is not changing at all. The way how it's written is always the same. From the beginning to the end is the same. No rhythm. We have all the time pa 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 pa. But of course Chopin didn't want us to play like this. He wanted the left hand to be just a background. Beautiful accompaniment for the beautiful expression of love, the story about love. So now let's go to the story. Everything starts from one note which immediately creates a tension. It has the energy. Why? Because Chopin decided to start, he decided to start from the third note of the scale. If the third note of the scale will always create the energy because it's not the first one. So it needs some kind of it has to be solved, has to be released, this tension that it creates. Why? If Chopin started from the first note without energy, it would have sounded like this. for example. Also beautiful, but without energy. So there is no this effect, wow, this effect of, when we hear the first note, we are like, wow, so beautiful. And it's not the last one, the last time when we hear it, when we feel it while we hear this nocturno. So now listen the difference. It needs to be solved, it needs to be released for, right? So we start from up and then we release the tension. Then again we build up the energy. And now this note, my friends, is an out of tune note. It doesn't fit in this key, in this group, in this family of notes. It's a wrong note, wrong note. It should not be here. It should be like this. Right? This is a good boy, a good student, composer student of, I don't know, music academy. And professors are happy. Yes, this is how you write the music, right? Because you but you cannot write. It doesn't sound well. It doesn't at all. So, but Chopin didn't care. I call it a wrong note because it really is a wrong note. And what's even more interesting, Chopin is making this note very long until he finally released this note, the tension of this note. So this wrong note brings a real beauty to this nocturno. And then after that we have again the explosion of energy. This here, I feel personally that these are the words, I love you so much. This is the music. After this wrong note, here. And now, the high note, typical for singer. If it were an aria, by the way, I'm really sad. When I play this nocturno, I'm always very sad that Chopin never decided to write an opera. Here we really hear how fantastic, how amazing, extraordinary would be Chopin's opera, if only had he tried and, well, studied more maybe the orchestration. How to write for orchestra, because it was not his specialty. He felt poor in this and he didn't want to do it. Too bad, because his melodies are fantastic. And in this nocturno, this aria would be one of the best arias ever written. But anyway, so here you feel this, this is typically written for the singer. Every singer would have loved to sing such an aria. So we have this. And then to keep it as long as she wants, and then again the tension. Released. And this is the first phrase, the first melody. Just listen, just the first phrase. And how long am I talking about it? I don't know, 5 minutes or more? I don't know. That's how rich this music is. And I didn't talk about everything, of course. But anyway, what's so special that this first melody of part A is a solo singer. It's she, a woman. Let's listen now to this. After I explain to you, maybe you will listen to it a little bit differently. Starting from the tension, then a little release, then more tension, then the wrong beautiful note released, then this I love you so much, and then after that this high note for the singer, and then another tension and release. How many things, how fantastically written it is. First melody, and we are immediately in love with this composer. Well, I mean, when Chopin played it in the salon, just imagine, all the women were in love with him immediately. After this first melody, they were all in love. They were fainted, maybe they fainted when Liszt was having his recitals, Franz Liszt. But I can imagine women, sensitive women, romantic women, to just love this pianist who played this beautiful music and who wrote this beautiful music. So it must be, I mean, Chopin definitely wanted to express his most warm feelings and parts of his heart to his love. Okay, this was the first melody. Now the second melody, and now the difference between first and second melody is substantial. It's a very big. The second melody is a duet. Have you heard that it's a duet? As I've already mentioned that this was a one melody, and now the second melody is like this. Here we have two notes, so two people, a couple, sang together. To make it easier for you to listen, to hear, I play his voice a little more in a darker part of the keyboard, down here, so that you can differentiate these two people in this duet. Time like this. So this is the idea of Chopin. The second melody will always be in part A duet. What's special about this? First of all, they agree. They are exactly together. When she goes up, he goes up. When she goes down, he goes down. Secondly, they cannot decide which way to go. This is very special and symbolic. This melody goes a little up, then down, a little up, then down, down, up, and down, all the time. Listen. Another special thing. This melody is, I played for you, it's a whole melody. There is nothing new after that. This will be repeated 4 times. The same notes, the same melody, I mean, but every time differently. Like in life, like in love, like in the relationship. What will be different if notes are the same? The rhythm will be different. And also there is a short modulation to another key, but this is not that important. Chopin is just changing the color. But now listen. The first time was like this. Sorry. The second time is like this. The third time. And the fourth time. So 4 different variations. My friends, genius wrote this music. So let's listen to this second melody now in its entirety. Second time. Modulation. Third time. Fourth time. And now we have part B. Now these two notes, they sound a little scary. Chopin writes forte, which means loud, and con forza, which means with power, powerfully. This is a little scary. Here comes, maybe, in their relationship, some bad moments, or maybe Chopin's thoughts of that they will not be together because there will be some boundaries that they will not be able to destroy and overcome. We don't know, but definitely we have a dialogue here. Let's listen, because part B is just a pure dialogue of somebody powerful and somebody who is very weak and is begging for mercy. Now somebody is begging for mercy. Again. And again, begging for mercy. And part A again. And now, very tricky question. What is the difference in part A when it comes for the second time and part A when it comes for the first time? This is the first time. So the beginning of the piece. Now the second time. Of course, the second time I played softer. But was it only me, my interpretation? No, not at all. It's Chopin who wrote that the second time we should whisper. Piano pianissimo, very, very silent. First time was not piano pianissimo. First time was only piano. Also silently, but not as much. So the second time is different. The notes are the same, that's why the question was tricky. But it's the pianist's role here to make the second time much more piano pianissimo than the first one. The first melody is almost the same, just the ending is just a little bit variated, embellished. Here when we have this, sorry, and now the second melody is also the same when it comes to the notes, but it's a little different when it comes to, well, it's a lot different, there is a lot of difference when it comes to color and emotions. Now, I want you to close your eyes for a second and feel what I play for you. I play for you now the first time, the second melody, duet, a little, the first time, and you answer yourself the question, what color, what temperature, what emotions we have here, what the color of this melody is. And now the second time. The first time was rather dark, melancholic, sad. The second, because there is a different key, different tonal structure, a different key, so we have this very bright, sunny, optimistic, full of love. And this is the difference. But now here clouds are approaching. Note from here we start part C, in which we have a big climax, and in which we have 5 times a shout. Somebody is shouting the very high note. There is a kind of expression of we don't know what. It can be drama, but it also can be passion. It can be very passionate moment. I prefer to think about the passion here. Because later we will have part A again for the 3rd time, like in the rondo, which will also be very passionate. So let's listen to part C with this scary and a little dramatic even climax. First time the note. Second. Third, fourth, fifth. And then part A. And what is different in part A here comparing to others? Of course, it's very loud. Forte fortissimo. Chopin writes here forte fortissimo. So it's not my interpretation. When you hear this nocturno played by a pianist, it's not pianist's choice to play here loud. This is a must. This is a respect for Chopin. We have to. Chopin wanted. Because this was built by part C, this passion. So part A is extremely passionate. And there is one more reason why Chopin wants this first phrase to be played loud. Just listen, because here in when we have the part A for the 3rd time, magic happens. The most extraordinary moment in this piece. You probably remember there is a moment in this nocturno when there are a lot of very, very extremely fast notes. Sometimes pianists want to show off here. They want to play like an etude to show how fantastic technique they have. This is, frankly, a mistake. Because that's not how Chopin wanted, talking about what he wrote in the score. Because now I present it for you. The whole part A starts forte fortissimo. We have passion. It's extremely passionate and very real. Because very loud. Again, false note. And now Chopin writes piano pianissimo, please whisper. So now it's something not real. So on this is like the main part, and then we have the background. The background somewhere very far away. And when you reach this climax, everything here is not real. As delicate as possible. Unreal. So some spiritual moment. And then we have the duet again. like something that we were waiting for from the beginning of the piece. Here is this comes. Some freedom. Here, this is the freedom. And now this is the end. It should be the end, but it's not. There is a long and fantastic coda. And in this coda, many musicologists and people hear sighs. I mean, this kind of ah. Of course, we can hear them. Just listen. Here. Yes, of course. But you know, I can see here something much more than only that. And also, as before with the ending, it came to my mind much later. When I was doing this analysis, and it took me a lot of time, trust me, it doesn't come so easy. There was one moment while I was doing this and thinking about it and playing and thinking and asking questions, trying to find answers, that I discovered something incredible. That when I think about it, even now, I have goosebumps. Why? Of course, it might not be true, but it makes sense. So, here we have, in the right hand, two notes. One, two, one, two. The motif of two notes, but these two notes are not together. Like before. Before, when we had this, they were always together. Here, if it had been together, it would have sounded like this. Beautiful, but it's not like this. Here they are apart, they are not together. This is a symbol that this duet, a couple, they are not together. Why I'm so excited about it? Because when Chopin composed this Nocturne, he was actually not with Maria Wodzinska, because she was in another part of Europe living, and he was in Paris, so they were apart. They only had they promised to be together, and he lived with a hope. He knew that he's going to visit her, but he actually lived with hope. So this might be a kind of reality, and this is not the end of a touching moment. Just listen to this. They are apart. And now what comes here? She, so this note stays. And now I hope you see my keyboard. I play it for you with the second hand. Isn't it wonderful? Let me show you. Maybe I can move the camera a little. I know I'm crazy, but I really want you to see that. Okay, now it will be better. So these two notes, and now we have one note here, and the second voice. What is he doing? Look. Isn't it wonderful? It's absolutely gorgeous. He is traveling. He is going towards her, to meet her, to touch her, to kiss her, to be together. how fantastic this is. That's why I'm talking about this goosebumps that I had when I discovered that, because it's so special. Did Chopin thought about it like this? We don't know. When we will never know. But as I said before, it makes sense. So I, as a performer, always think about it, and then with a hope that the audience will feel this special touching moment when I play. So these two notes, they are repeated again with a little bit of embellishment. And now the last part. They are together again and they are talking. I mean, this is the symbol of being together. In love. I show you again, like I did at the beginning, the lower voice I play very low, so that you can hear the dialogue, that the beautiful dialogue, duet that we have here. She is singing. He is answering. She. He. Amazing moment, fantastic moment. This is really a lot. I mean, it's extremely important how the pianist plays this moment, because in the one hand only, we have two voices, so we need to have two different ways of touch in one hand to make the listener understand this dialogue. We can do it in many ways. We can make the lower voice more or the upper voice more. We can differentiate it. Let's let's listen to this. I play the lower voice more now, and I try to make the dialogue very easy to understand. How beautiful is this one? Let's do it the other way. Let's play the upper voice more. And now maybe down. Well, there are many options, but anyway, it must be very clear that these are two persons. And now, as I told you, in Chopin's mind, in my opinion, here is the end. They die together. Sorry, we all will. And they together, their souls fly to heaven. So this is the end. And I actually don't want to finish this video. That's how much this music makes me feel. Definitely, to play this piece well, there is something more than just playing notes, playing beautiful legato, playing everything what Chopin wrote. The pianist must feel love. The pianist must be in love when play this piece. I mean, not literally, because we have this thing that is called imagination. Every artist has. And the more we imagine that we are in love and we express this love to another person, the better for this music. Let me play this Nocturne one more time at the end of this video for you with love. Thank you very much for watching, and please feel invited to watch my other videos, both previous ones if you don't know them, and the next one which I'm going to upload later this year. Thank you. Bye bye.